Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky, and I'm living Christ. Today I have something to speak to you that is of the utmost importance to each and every man, woman, and child now living on this plane of existence. Originally, I wrote this piece, but truth really manifests in the moment of now. And I'm addressing you the combination of knowledge and truth. Knowledge is the piece that I wrote based on after moment thought that is conditioned into the minds of living men and women. We call that conditioning. It's satanic conditioning. Now, the piece that I wrote is to countermand that energy of duality that has made slaves out of each and every one of you and has prohibited you from experience the living moment of truth in the eternal moment of now. So let me read to you what I wrote, and then I will expand on that with the truth, the actual truth. The title of the piece was Living Christ. It says that Zionist Israel is not God's chosen people, but a satanic government bent on world domination. I wrote that this message is not an attack, but one of revelation, a revelation of truth that I experienced in the moment of now, and then committed it to writing, which made it knowledge. No longer truth, but the spirit of the words spoken is the truth. The letter of the word can be interpreted by each and every one of you according to your own judgment and your own divisive conditioning. That's the problem that we face in the world that we live in. As I say, it's not an attack, but one of revelation. And I suggest that you give it your attention. And your attention can only be applied to truth in the moment of now, because your lives depend upon it. With all due respect, my comments are not directed toward the Jewish people, for the fiction of nationality is just that, a form of ideas that encapsulate a momentum of understanding which is cultured into oneself through conditioning. That is what we achieve when we send our children to schools. We change their minds, we control their minds, we create cultures. We live in the American culture, the English culture, you see. And we separate ourselves from those who live in a different culture. As I have said, my comments are not directed toward the Jewish people, for they're just like the rest of us, people. Living, breathing, flesh and blood people, and terminals of truth, of God itself. Let's see. I will get into that later on after I get through this message. The Zionist government controls the thought of the Jewish people, and it is bent on world domination. It accomplishes that through conditioning, satanic conditioning, through myth, legend, brainwashing, and worldwide murder of innocents. In other words, war. All governments which engage in war and tyranny are satanic, you see, for they are the promoters of satanic mind control, images that have been conditioned coercively into the intellectual mind of us when we are sent to our schools, be it elementary school, high school, college, university, and postgraduate work. We are actually, the bodies that we have are not us. The minds that we have are not us. See, we are the spark of life itself, that is God, representing its presence in divine intelligence throughout the universe. That's the first thing that we must understand, who we are. That is the challenge that has beset every man, woman, and child that comes onto this plane of existence. You see. All governments that engage in war and tyranny are satanic because they promote the satanic mind control programs, which are the creators of the illusory realm of fantasy that we call civilized life, which is an illusion. It's not real. You see. It tends to muddle the consciousness of the living man and woman through fear and self-doubt. That is the satanic spell that encompasses the intellectual mind of man. It's a demonic force which overcomes the intellectual consciousness of living men and women, and it renders them helpless and hopeless, and throws them into the sphere of the fear of images that have been inflicted upon them, the self-doubting slaves that they have become. They have entered into the dualistic world of images, and they think that is real, that is life. It is not. We'll get to that later. To such a satanic government, which is intellectually dominating, they perceive that all is a fiction, that all is dead. And through controlling the means of education, legislation, making rules, regulations that they call law, but it's not law, for there's only one law, it's God's law. It's do no harm, tell no lies. But we don't live in that world, do we? These satanic mind controllers, administer the satanic spell of mind control. And they create a fictional world in the process, which serves such satanic images, so that the death of millions of already dead persons is no great loss, and it provides them with the redistribution of wealth, fame, fortune, and power over all those whom they have enslaved by making them doubt themselves, which then assures their position of dominance all in the world of Satanism, the dualistic, civilized society world that we live in. It's based in schism, it's based in division, it's based in opposition. It's based in whim, you see. That's the nature of a satanically driven, civilized world that you all live in. You cannot deny it. And you can see that that formula has been sustained throughout the ages, since the beginning of time, when Satanic man understood that such mind-controlling power over other men gave them positions of power. But it's all an illusion. It's all temporary. It's all based on the idea of birth and death, duality. You see, a beginning and an end. When in fact, we are infinite. We are eternal beings. We are terminals of God because we have two minds. The subconscious mind, which is the mind of God, the mind of creation, the mind of non-duality, the mind of truth, and the satanic intellectual mind, the conscious mind that we all are too familiar with, the mind of dualism, the mind of opposition, pain, suffering, you see, confusion. That's the world that most of you live in, and you're trying to find out how to get out of it. You don't have to remain in it another moment. All you have to do is become quiet, and you end the suffering that now envelops you. It's all an illusion. You see, such illusions are but satanic spells, which control the living dead government, that are created as fictional persons living in a fictional world by a fictional government and religion. You see, those are the agendas that rule over Earth, and we call it civilized life. It's hell. I have many videos online, and you'll find them at my website, arkenterprises.com, lisarayenterprises.com, and they're free. They're free to share with one another, because truth cannot be a commodity. The idea of truth is satanic, and that is what is being bought and sold. You see, I offer to you these instruments of truth freely and with no reservations. On the other hand, I also will accept your donations, because we live in a world that requires, until we wake up from our unawareness, we live in a fictional world which requires money to live. So, you have a desire to donate something, it's entirely up to you. I am speaking of a world of cooperation, of love. You see, the present world that we live now is one of coercive control, addiction to power, to pain, to tyranny. You see, and we take our place in the realm of hell. Why, I ask you, do you think that I am being blacklisted, by the satanic powers that rule over this world and own the means of communications that dispense conditioning instead of truth? I speak truth, and that truth is a threat to the satanic empire that rules over you. I would suggest that you research this living Christ and join me in asking President Trump to order an FBI investigation into this living Christ to determine his validity. You see, the Satanic powers are spreading the lie that I am dead. And the image that you see speaking to you in this video is an imposter. I assure you I am very much alive. I am the living Christ. And that they can't afford for you to understand, because when that happens, it's over for them. You see. Go ahead. Research this living Christ on the internet. Look at my websites. Listen to my videos, and YouTube video and Vimeo video, and you will see a pattern of censorship that has taken over the activities of this living man. The pressures, the satanic pressures that have been brought to bear upon this living man in the last 23 years of my public life. You see. Jesus had only 3 years of public life. I've sustained the truth on the internet for 23 years. Now, what's at stake here is the godly, truthful existence of a new world consciousness, which has been called in the past the second coming of Christ. The present government is that of world order, and it is looking to morph into the new world order. It's all satanic. It's all based on intellectual power, force, control, superstition, myths. You see, that's what rules you. You have to be reinforced with the illusions that have been conditioned into you by going to church and having the same story of Christianity or Buddhism or the Islamic faiths. These are all knowledge-based not understandings, beliefs, you see. And you are controlled in that fantasy world of belief. What is required is to destroy, and I mean that absolutely, to end the energy of duality, which is the realm of destruction. You see. You must destroy the satanic spell that binds you to slavery, because you have been made to doubt yourself. And what is left, you will find, will be the silence of meditation that brings you into your subconscious mind, which is the mind of the Creator, the mind of truth, the mind of God, you see. That's the real you, but you doubt yourself. And you opt to take refuge in knowledge, which is the idea of truth, a graven image that you worship. You worship the intellectual mind, and in so you worship Satan, which is the god of the intellectual mind. That's your fall from grace. That's what has created this world that we live in. And you are the creator of that world, because you have doubted yourself into believing and worshiping that belief and creating your own limitations. Those limitations separate you from other limitations that are housed in other intellectual minds. And that causes conflict. That's the nature of hell. The nature of pain, suffering. What is called for is love, non-duality, cooperation, not competition, love, absolute oneness with what is, the I am that I am, that is the very spirit of every one of you. But you don't believe it because you relish the ideas that have been conditioned into you by satanic rulers and their henchmen. You see. If you want peace in your life, all you need do is stop the present hellish world that you have created through your beliefs. Boycotts. Take away your energy. Because without your energy, that illusory world could not exist. Government could not exist. Neither could religion, or the banking industry, or the corporate structures. Look at how important these things seem to you. It's all an illusion. They are the creators of war. They are the creators of slavery. And you have found yourself to be lacking in energy. And so you depend upon that government for your very sustenance, your very existence itself. How foolish of you, when you are the creator of that. If you only became quiet and understood that you, with the balance of your left brain hemisphere and the right brain hemisphere, and a connection of the two in balance, that you are the creator of your own life. You are God. You won't hear that in your Sunday schools or any of the religions that are based in duality, but you've heard it here. And there's something about the essence, the spirit of that word that cannot be denied. You see, that is the truth. And that is what shall set you free. But you must come to that in your own time. And that's the reason why you're here, to understand who you are, why you're here, and what is the purpose of this life, this experience that you're going through. Let's get on with it, shall we?